We are on a mission.
A mission to save and revitalize independent pharmacy.
On the Catalyst Pharmacy podcast,
You will get actionable business advice
hear stories from industry leaders,
and share a laugh with us,
fuel your passion for pharmacy.
one conversation at a time.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How about you guys?
We're doing great. We, matter of fact, haven't done a podcast in a while. We've been traveling a lot.
We did one.
Trade shows.
We did one shortly before Connect.
Yeah?
Okay.
You done any other podcasts?
I have not.
No? Okay. So we're kind of both getting back started, or
Yeah.
getting into it. It's also our chillers went out last night, so we've been listening to Ellie. Hot in here.
No, Jeff likes to start every podcast episode like kind of a pump you up music. And so normally it's like Michael Jackson or some 80s rock, or he's done Queen. It's been a lot of Michael Jackson and Prince, honestly. Today he decided to start with Nelly. And I'm just like, oh gosh.
Sorry, what's your favorite summer song, Tammy?
Oh goodness. I don't know that I have a favorite.
When you think summer, what song do you think of? That's not from Frozen.
4th of July. It's not really a pump up song, but just those patriotic songs like, God Bless the USA and different things like that. That's what I think of like this time of year. But
you have a playlist.
I just got back from a mission trip with a bunch of kids, so I should have tons of songs on my brain, shouldn't I?
So I'm feeling like she's much better than me because I was thinking 2 pina coladas. Right.
Oh, there you go.
You also think that song when it's not summer. I'm just saying.
Get a little health. Give me 2 pina coladas, one for each hand. Which also sounds like it might cool it off. So a mission trip. Where was that?
Cedarville, Ohio.
Cedarville, Ohio.
Took
a lot
our
of debauchery going on in Cedarville, Ohio. So it was maybe what kind of mission trip? Was it like fix it up?
Our youth group at our church, we had over 40 kids that we took up there, and it was.
Oh wow!
So were we knocking on doors, or were we mowing lawns, or was it more of a service trip, or?
Yeah, so we were with YM360, and we chose the service option, and so we actually divided our group into 2 since it was so large, and some of them went to a community garden and did some construction and just helping with gardening, and then talking with members of that community, and then the group that I had, we went to a mission organization called Target Dayton.
Okay.
And they serve the homeless in inner city. So we were able to help them physically with moving some things around in their building, and then also serving a meal to the homeless and talking with them, praying with them. It was a great experience.
So do you have teenagers, or you just
I was about to ask. So your kids were obviously on this trip. I think I saw you have 4.
Well, obviously, she could just be a glutton for punishment.
Yes, I have 4 kids.
I was like, my life is boring. I'm going to take a bunch of teenagers to Ohio.
How much caffeine have you had this morning? Good Lord.
Sorry.
Slow down. Let other people talk.
It's hot in here. It's driving up my
what are the ages?
So I don't know. Then I'm going to give away my age, but no, I'm teasing. So my oldest, 23.
Okay.
Yep. And she is finishing up her last year of pharmacy school.
Wow.
Cool.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah, she's up in Boscoville, Wisconsin these next 5 weeks, having a great time. Right. And she's going to be all over. So she's super excited for what the year will bring and beyond. And then, so that's Brittany, my oldest. And then Brenna, my second oldest, just turned 21. Okay. She is in Cedar Falls, Iowa at UNI. She's early education for teaching. And so she's enjoying her time there.
It's a little bit of a spectrum.
Yeah. Yep. And then Luke, my son, just finished up his first year at Iowa State. So we have all 3 state schools covered.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Spending some money on college.
Yes, we are. I haven't seen the discount, though, for all 3 state schools covered.
No,
so.
And 2 girls. Yeah, I'm paying for a wedding right now. My daughter's getting married in the July.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's
in
like
Dallas.
3 college tuitions in one.
It's amazing the price changes when you say it's a wedding. It's like, I keep on telling her, tell her you're having a corporate event. It's a retreat.
There you go.
We're gonna
exactly. It's kind of the same thing, right?
and we're kind of like we're
retreat.
dressing in white. It's a corporate retreat where we're using the symbolism of marriage to be your job, and kind of. I think we could make it happen.
You could pull that off. No problem.
She wasn't buying all that. So.
And then the youngest is.
And the youngest is, and she'll be a senior.
Okay.
So, wow.
So you're almost empty nesters.
I know. Yeah.
See, I'm just now experiencing that because I've got one that just graduated high school and she'll be leaving for college, and then one that is starting high school this fall.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then he's my last one.
Okay. Yeah, exciting.
And she's like, we live in Texas, but she's going to be going to Savannah, Georgia for college.
Oh, okay.
Yes, a ways.
A little, yeah. That's how many hours will that be for?
It's going to be a 15-hour car ride.
15-hour car ride.
Yeah, that's a flight. It's
or
not
an hour and a half.
It's not a car ride.
But she wants her car, so they're driving it there. So.
Oh, gosh.
But that is so much fun, kids and
Sunrise,
growing.
sunset.
And so your daughter that is in her last year of college, pharmacy school, so is she going to come work in the pharmacy with mom and follow in footsteps, or open her own pharmacy?
She actually has been. We kind of joke around. She's had lots of experience so far. When she was in high school, she became a certified technician. She worked for Hy-Vee, and then when she was, she went to Iowa State for a couple of years before transferring to Iowa. So I got her connected with a Medicap in Ames. Levi Long is a great pharmacist there. And then she has been working with Randy McDonough's crew at Towncrest, and then Solon Towncrest while she's been at in Iowa City.
Nice.
And then summers and breaks, she is back at Osterhaus. So she's had lots and lots of experience in different settings so far. So
does she know where she's going? She's going to go work for an independent? Does she know?
Oh, she definitely has that independent bug.
Yep.
So, and, we're pushing her toward, I should say pushing her, because she knows the importance of a residency. And so she's, looking at her options there. And I'm sure she'll be diving into that a little bit more in the next couple months and figuring all that out. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about your role as a preceptor.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so I have been with Osterhaus Pharmacy for a very long time. I actually was their second resident, but my history goes back before that. So I started working there when I was actually in high school. So 16 years old, met with Bobo.
Wow, yeah.
And, I, cut off shorts, ready for a football game afterward, and, had no idea about interviewing, no idea what I was getting into.
Yep.
But great pharmacy.
And you had a young child at that time, right? Had your first in high school. So
yeah.
For any of you trying to do the math. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, that kind of started my career in pharmacy, really. I worked back in the pharmacy during high school, and at that time, they had like some people coming in for summers trying to get their 500 hours and things like that. But they didn't have rotation students at the time. That really started kind of when I was in college. And then with the PharmD program. And so then they began having students every so many weeks from that. And pretty consistently. I mean, Osterhaus has always been a strong site and very geared for teaching and raising up that next generation of pharmacists. And so when I came back as a resident, then I had the opportunity to interact with students on a regular basis. And then, ever since. So it's very rare that we do not have a student during a rotation cycle, but there are some, but for the most part, for the last, I don't even know how many years, 26 years that I've been there as a pharmacist. We've had students pretty much every 5 weeks.
So when you started out in high school, did you start out as a pharmacy tech also and then just go straight into pharmacy school, or were you just like cashier?
So I started out as cashier, and then when I was a senior in high school, there was opportunity to, I was involved in what's called MOC, or multi-occupational cooperative, and that took me back into the pharmacy then. It was a little bit more focused, and so, they just brought me back in, and I started doing, that was when we had the HCFA 1500 form and pulling scripts and counting and so forth, and one
Mm.
evening I was working with Marilyn, and she's like, "What are you gonna do after, after you graduate?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And she's like, "You should really think about pharmacy." And I was like, maybe I will." So,
That's nice.
um, I went I
Little
went off to
mentor.
I went off to Iowa State though, against, Bobo's better judgment there. And, but I
Okay.
was kind of, wasn't exactly sure I was gonna do pharmacy, but then when I was there, it became clear, like, yeah, I think I'm not gonna do engineering. That's not my cup of tea. So I
Okay.
talked to Matt, and they took me to the college and did a tour, and it was history from there.
Hmm. All right. So what do y'all use the students for? So,
Oh gosh. I mean, really it's opportunity to teach them how how they can really make an impact and a difference on patients' lives. And it's not about numbers and trying to, crank through
Mhm.
prescriptions, but it's really about knowing and understanding your patients, developing that personal relationship with them, um, and, showing them the impact that we can have, just by asking questions, helping them to know and understand what's going on with their medications, their disease state, and so forth. And so, we have been involved in so many projects over the years, and so there's always something to get them involved, and so forth.
Mhm.
Most recently, we are in a project with, or it's not really a project, but it's a pair program, with AmeriGroup or Ingenio. It always seems to be changing names, but we are managing patients that they are attributing to us based on their high cost dollars to their, the medical system. So
Mhm.
patients who have mental health issues, people who are on opioids, asthma, COPD. So they have lots of opportunity to um, talk with them, follow up with them, do interventions, and so forth. So,
so how do you track and manage those patients?
well, that's a great question. So we use Pioneer, obviously, and we have been able to set up some care goals
Nice.
that then we have follow-up set in there as well, so that way it's triggered through Pioneer. But we are babies when it comes to using Pioneer, so I do have a spreadsheet kind of, we we have a spreadsheet that we keep up. We have dual
Mm.
monitors at our site pretty
Nice.
much
Okay.
on every computer, which total game changer, to how we integrate things clinically. And so at any point in time, like usually I'll have that list very accessible. So if I identify my AmeriGroup patient, I can just pull up the spreadsheet and know, like, okay, yep, we have submitted a claim for this month for this patient or not. But
Mhm.
then also obviously going into the care plan, and you can dive in then a little bit more
Gotcha.
details. So
So I
yeah,
guess we need to make a visit and figure out how to move her spreadsheet
yes.
into Pioneer.
Yep.
Well, and some of that is, and you know, um, kind of that 3-click rule. It's like,
Yeah.
if
Right.
it takes more than 3 clicks, it's hard to get pharmacists to figure out what's
Right.
going on. And so it just, if we have that, it's just really accessible to know, like, okay,
Mhm.
yep, we need to dive in and look a little bit more here for this patient this month and so forth. So
Hmm. Interesting.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
flip the pharmacy coach of the
Yeah.
year
What?
in 2022.
yeah,
What was that about?
super. Well, I mean, so humbling, first of all, because, I just, it's one of those things where I've had the opportunity to work with so many great pharmacies and pharmacists over the past 4 years with Flip the Pharmacy. It's such an honor to be able to take what I've learned over the course of my career and help move others along. And I love the vision of that collaboration between the Community Pharmacy Foundation and CPESN, really taking that, moving that moment of time of prescription processing to that longitudinal care. I feel like that's what we've been doing, over the last, 2 decades at Osterhaus Pharmacy, really, whether it's projects we've been in or different programs we've been involved in. And so taking some of that insight into pharmacies around Eastern Iowa, and I have some in Central Iowa as well that I work with, it's just been very rewarding. I feel like I'm able to be a connector for them, connecting them with resources, connecting them with other people who maybe have done what they're looking to do. It's been great. And like I said, I love the pharmacies I work with. I'm passionate about helping them to really transform their workflow process and allowing them to have more time to spend with patients and to really start thinking about what does it look like to have that clinical mindset when you are in the workflow and interacting with your patients. So.
All right, so coaching a pharmacy, what do they struggle with the most when you're trying to help them?
What would you
it
say
kind
is
of
the biggest
depends on the
struggle?
pharmacy.
Okay.
What I see a lot is not a lot of great communication
Within the pharmacy.
I think when you can communicate with your team,
okay,
what the vision is and the why of that vision, you're going to get better buy-in and you're going to get more support. So teams that I've worked with that have done a really good job at really communicating things to their staff and have ongoing communication, not just one and done, but that ongoing communication, so much farther ahead than others. The other thing that I think is key is getting them to experience things. So sometimes, when you talk about like MedSync and you talk about workflows, if you can bring them out of their little world and bring them to like Osterhaus Pharmacy or another pharmacy. And I think our executive director, Lindsay Lugwood, has done a phenomenal job of that with really kind of promoting those field trips throughout those Flip the Pharmacy sites and even other sites that are struggling. If they can come and see how things go in a pharmacy that's functioning, pretty smoothly with MedSync or whatever the case may be.
Or the process that looks like that mountain far away that they're like, that looks really freaking awesome. I'm going to get there one day, but they don't know where to start. Or they start and they fumble a couple times. And they're like, well, I don't have the time to dive back into this and really figure it out. So, what kind of advice do you give to somebody who sees that mountain and they want to go for it?
Well, it's really what we talk about a lot is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and so it's just that slow and steady wins the race.
Yep.
Kind of thing. So if you can just make one little change today and then tomorrow focus on, something else. And then the next day, a year from now, you're going to look back and you're going to say, wow, I'm so much farther than I was a year ago.
It's that concept of a continuum. I love it.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that's the important thing. And it's developing that habit. And I know sometimes it can be a struggle, especially with like care plans and things like that. Well, why do I have to do that? I don't have anyone paying for this right now. But, you can't just jump into the race, if you haven't trained. And so really Flip the Pharmacy. And I love it because there's like 4 different progressions that they go through over a 2-year period, and they're like 6 months each. And it really, gets that repetition in and it starts to kind of layer things in there and that practice and stuff. So that's really, been really positive.
So, okay, MedSync question. You're obviously doing MedSync in your pharmacy. How many patients do you have on MedSync?
Ooh, it's funny because we had a pharmacist retreat just the other day, or I guess the other day, it was June. And it was noted we had like over 30%, but I think it has to do with some reporting. So it's looking at the number of patients and then the number of eligibility and whatnot. But I think when you take out like vaccinations or like kind of like, your acute scripts and things like that, that number's got to be higher because we really honestly, I don't have the exact patient number, but it's like, I want to say like 700 maybe, maybe even more.
It'd be fun to look at your percentage of chronic prescriptions, right?
Yeah.
So you just did it. You looked at what chronic medications were and say what percentage of our chronic meds, anything with a refill, right, is on sync. I know we need that number. That'd be a good, because I like it.
Reevaluate the calculation.
Because I like to think about percentage of scripts because that's what transforms your practices. All right. So at Connect this year, did you go to Connect?
I didn't have the opportunity.
Gotta go. Rave reviews this year. I really found a pattern that worked.
This year we changed the class structure. And so normally it's been 50-minute classes and then you have like a 10 or 20-minute break and it's just content overload. And this year we switched it up and we went, cool, 50-minute session, 20, 30-minute Q&A. So every class was 90 minutes and everybody loved the Q&A. And I popped in and sat in on a couple of the sessions. And as soon as it was Q&A time, there was people lined up for the microphone with loads of questions.
And a lot of people learn their stuff from those questions, right? So you think about, you got 50 minutes of intake, then you got 30, 35 minutes of Q&A with the teacher, then you got a 30-minute coffee break where you're talking to other people. You may have heard somebody ask a question. You go catch them and say, hey, you asked this question. I'm having this deal. And then you do another one of those. So that really worked out well. But my talk there was on 10 ways to waste your money at Connect, right? And really you're doing the reverse and telling what to do. So in CPA this year, I'm going to do...
you're going to give the teaser.
Yeah, I'm going to tease it.
Okay, I'm gonna
do
already.
The 10 ways to run your pharmacy out of business. Okay. And so really that's going to be, hey, don't do these. So really it's 10 things you should do. All right. So between now and then, our guests on the podcast can kind of ask them, hey, what do you think your top 2 of those 10 things would be? Now I heard, and maybe you'll stick with it, maybe you'll change it.
Don't communicate.
One of those is communicate. Yeah.
Like
so one of the ways is not to communicate with your staff, a vision or I love it.
And if you're not communicating, it's not essentially a team.
Now, I heard you did a retreat. So let's talk about communicating. Is that whiteboard? Is that, hey, we all huddle around and do go in the morning? How are we communicating? Surely we're not emailing out in a pharmacy.
So here are 2 things that have worked super well for Osterhaus Pharmacy over the years. One is we established a daily huddle, and we've been doing that for a long time. So really it's in the morning. What we noticed was we had some people that weren't maybe necessarily timely and so forth. And so it was just a way to instill that timeliness, be ready to go for the day in more of a subtle way. So that's kind of how it began years ago, but it really stuck because it's so important to set the tone for the day. So we usually have a motivational quote or something fun, and just say like, hey, here's what's going on today, or like, we're short staffed. We've got just, Tammy and Jesse here today. We need everyone to kind of pick up extra here, there, whatever. We also kind of incorporated like a funny Friday. So like technicians will like tell a joke or, do something fun and so forth. And then we end it with our mission statement. So these huddles are like, definitely less than 5 minutes. They might even be.
What's the mission statement?
A minute. Oh gosh, put pressure. Osterhaus Pharmacy is a pharmacy patients choose for innovative care, excellent service, and exceptional health-related outcomes. And then we end it with an amen because that's what Baba
is it to a tune?
said.
It sounds like an alma mater.
Probably inspired by her alma mater.
Yeah, it should be, but But yeah, so it just creates team, and we do that twice because we have a crew that comes in at 8, and then we have another crew that comes in at 9. So we do that in the mornings, and it's funny because on days that sometimes things get just community pharmacy kind of crazy out of the get go, and
so the
our
retreat.
technicians like, did we have a huddle? Have we had a huddle yet?
Have we huddled yet? I love it.
Yep.
So the retreat, is this like is this like neighboring pharmacies that you're friends with or that you went to school with, or is this part of the state association?
Nope, it's Osterhaus Pharmacy. So we actually do 2 retreats a year. One is our technician retreat.
Okay.
And so we used to be open all day Saturday, but the last year we have made some changes with our hours.
Okay.
But in the past, we would close the pharmacy down. After lunch on a Saturday, we would get our team together on Bobo's porch. And we would try to do some team building events, and we would use it sometimes for more concentrated training, sometimes for just other development. Like one time we did like a Myers-Briggs or DISC assessment on our entire team, and just talked about like
those are fun.
Just like the differences of everybody.
Yep.
Actually, this last year we had done a Colby, and I had the opportunity to work with Kari Smith over the last year because we did a lot of my pharmacies did Colby assessments on each of their staff and their team and stuff. And then we did it as well at Osterhaus. So I had been through enough presentations with all my sites that I felt pretty comfortable talking with our team about it. So I just talked about just the strengths that we had as a team and how we could best work together and communicate together. So that was our technician. Then we ended it with doing a escape room, which was always fun.
Those
Did you get
so
out?
Fun.
Yeah, we did. We made
nice.
it. So good team. And then so that usually happens kind of March, April, depending on what we've got going on each year. So that's something that it's a great opportunity to just show our appreciation to our technicians. And we're very much a family at Osterhaus Pharmacy, and it just really just helps strengthen those relationships and things.
I love it. So you start with a huddle and you do a retreat 2 times a year.
Yeah.
You're completely bringing team in together and making it's awesome. I love it.
And I was listening to your podcast with Jackson and talking about AI.
Jackson Justice.
Yes. And we were just having a conversation about that a couple weeks ago. He was like, so has pharmacy started using AI? And I was like, I wonder how we would use that. And then my husband has kind of messed around with it a little bit with, what is whatever the program is.
ChatGPT.
So, Yep. And even he put stuff in for his business, just saying like, put together a marketing campaign or it's amazing.
Yep.
It's amazing what that can do. So
you're talking of, it's interesting you bring up Jackson Justice, because like you're talking about team building and bringing it together and communication and starting with a huddle, and it instantly reminded me, I'm like, he is very much like, do y'all know each other? Because that was kind of the thing that he also talked about, was starting his team off with, today we're gonna start, it's gonna be a great day, and just starting off every day with, today's gonna be great.
We keep threatening to have a podcast retreat where we take all the guests that have been on our podcast and go somewhere. I can't even, I get chills even thinking about it. I can't imagine
so much
the
fun
conversations that would happen. We probably have to have some structure to it, but
absolutely, because there's been 2, almost 3 years worth of podcasts.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I think the world. We've had a couple of companies come together, and the world is such. There's certain quality of people you're just not going to hire in the office here. I have jealousy when you say you huddle together in the morning, because I'd love to do that, but you have people in Spartanburg and you have people in Pittsburgh and you have stuff like that. But when the leadership team gets together for a couple of days, you're like, oh my goodness, what we could do if we were all in the office together all the time. It's just,
well, we're about to get some of them together in September.
It's that kind of energy. And I just imagine what it'd be like to bring that kind of group, which I imagine is kind of what you guys feel like when the CPSN, are you, do you have a role in CPSN?
So I'm a the pharmacy coach, and so my role right now, basically, Lindsay coordinates like twice a month. We have a meeting with coaches in the morning.
Do y'all ever get together like physically somewhere? Is there ever a flip the pharmacy retreat?
I should talk to Lindsay about that. We really should. That would be great.
I just can't imagine the ideation and there's just some ideas that just happen because you're sitting around together.
Well, and so really like our second retreat then is focused on pharmacists. So we have that we have our retreat with our technicians, and then we have our pharmacist retreat. And that is focused around the transition of our resident. So we have our, outgoing resident that is there that pretty much leads the retreat. And then we have our incoming resident. And so that really sets the stage for kind of what the next year is going to look like. So we're talking about like, what are their goals? What are our goals? And just trying to set that agenda, because it's so hard you can't focus on making progress in the day to day.
All right.
You need to separate
absolutely.
yourself. You have to have some time. Yep. And even like with my husband, with his, you have to have some time when you are stepping away from the business and focusing on how to move to that next step. Yeah, so you've got to have some way that you're investing in that.
So I hear another maybe of the 10, right? Never step away from your business.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Because that's
that goes against the other thing that we've also said, which is, I guess it's not quite stepping away from your business, but it's, you can't be stuck behind the counter.
Right. Well, there's two things. Yeah. You're talking about the deal getting out in the community, but she's also talking about the thing that I say that, you're not going to, the creative process doesn't happen in the 15 minutes between two phone calls, or, the creativity doesn't happen when you break away for an hour for lunch. It just doesn't happen then. There has to be a stillness. Creativity comes out of some kind of stillness where your brain finally gets to go, oh, heck, I'm not trying to survive. I'm now thinking about how I might thrive. See, there you go.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah. And I think another one is,
write this down, somebody.
I think the heat's going to your head.
Don't network with anybody.
Right. Yeah. Don't.
Yeah. I'd say that's a failure too. If you're not networking, I mean that's the big part of our conference that we just had, which was Catalyst Connect, and is really the networking piece.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go next year. You belong there.
I'll put it on my calendar.
And that's a similar. There's just a lot more people like you, and just the piece of the Connect side of that. Even though we're not going to call it Connect next year.
And that's the thing too, even with, when we can be in our own little microcosm here, but when you get outside of that and you can see there's so many great people doing so many great things. And that's what I love about Flip the Pharmacy is it's connecting people from all over with best practices. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel on things. And it's really just such a great connector, and really that sharing of ideas, and even if it's just like all their different learning communities that they've done such a phenomenal job with that. Whether it's Max My Sync or their pharmacy services for support staff, the Team USA, the best practices. It's like you can listen to those and take away one little thing.
Right.
There's always just something that you can be, taking away from those podcasts and things.
So let's talk about kind of the what is it? The fragrance of the rose lingers in the hand of the person who gives it. You're doing all this. You're doing all this service, right? You're going to Flip the Pharmacy coach, going around and helping these people. What do you get out of it?
Oh gosh.
Well, according to the poster behind her, she gets purpose.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It makes for just a more fulfilling career. From when you're able to help others. I know, everybody's heard the quote, we rise by lifting others up, and really that's what we're doing here with CPSN and Flip the Pharmacy. Our network is only as good as its weakest link. So if we can just rise everybody, together, we're going to be so much better as integrated network
or community.
And you learn something from some of those?
Absolutely. I take as much away from pharmacies that I visit as what I'm giving. And it's one of the neatest things is to see kind of that light bulb go off in a site, and to really like get it and then start having some of that momentum and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely been very rewarding. And I love that, but I also love working with patients, and I love working in the pharmacy. And I think that's, you know, I'm not sure all the demographics of the different coaches, but I think from my standpoint, it makes me a more effective coach when I'm in the trenches. And, you know, I've been in the trenches in community pharmacy, making things happen and figuring stuff out and working with a team, brainstorming and really kind of moving that needle as far as elevating community practice, and then able to take that, you know, work through some of those things, present different ideas. And I've had some so I've got like pharmacies in all different phases. So there's been four cohorts of pharmacies, and I picked up some pharmacies because a coach had taken a position elsewhere. So in year 2, or the second year of the program, and then I was kind of like, well, I'm not sure if I'll keep meeting with you once you're done, like on a quarterly basis or not. And I kind of left that up to them, like, and you know, all of them were like, no, you bring just a different insight than our corporation, because I work with several Medicaps in the Des Moines area. And that was, you know, so that was neat, you know, to be able to know that I was like making a difference. And it always seems like, you know, sometimes I think, oh, what value am I going to add to them? And, you know, it's like there's always something kind of placed on my heart, or it's just something that pops up, you know, during that time. And then I'd leave that visit, and I'm like, wow, that was good. Yeah, there's, you know.
So what's in it for your employer? Why
in it for my employer?
Yeah.
Oh, for Matt?
Yep.
Joe?
What's in it for Matt? What you know, you know,
well, I mean, she just said she's bringing back ideas and she's implementing them.
That's probably, I think that would be really the main thing is bringing back different ideas. I mean, you know, here's one example, just, you know, and I think Matt and Bob have always been a great proponent of being connected with your profession. And although I might maybe not have been able to attend as many national meetings, you know, still state association meetings and things like that, and being involved in like the board of trustees and things like that over the years, they've always made involvement a priority for their staff. So all of our pharmacists are able to be involved, and that is a very unique thing. You don't get that. You don't get that at other pharmacies.
Is that a service, or is it an investment?
But
so is Matt thinking I'm giving back to the profession, and he's that kind of guy, and he is. But is it an investment too? You see what I'm saying? Is he thinking about his investment?
I think you have another thing is don't invest in your employees. You know, when you invest in the leadership and you invest in the development of your employees.
This is the idea.
You know,
I'm no fool.
Yeah, you're going to be up to 10 in no time.
I'm gonna be right there.
It's going to get expanded.
I'll be having
20.
to pick the top 10, which is great. This is perfect.
Yeah.
So all right. So let's get back very specifically. So he's investing in his employees, right? The employees are you're certainly happier than somebody who just worked behind the bench, right? But so I need to invest in my community. I need to invest in my employees. I need to help my employees be connected, even if that takes sacrifices. And you see this. You look at pharmacies that are just give. I hate to always fall back on Amina and Joe and these people like this, and there's hundreds of those that are that way. They're just giving back to the industry, and they're super successful. And you're like, is it chicken or the egg? Are they super successful and therefore they feel like they need to give back, and so they're thinking about this as a service, or are they really successful because of this giving, investing in their staff, investing in their and those ideas and things that are coming back and the people they're helping them?
Or the quote that you love to reference a lot, which is, if you help enough people get what they want in life, you'll get what you need.
Yep. Yeah, that's Zig Ziglar. He's always, life's a simple formula, right? You getting what you want in life is simply about helping enough other people get what they want, right? You know, if you help enough patients get what they want, you're going to have a thriving business. If you help enough employees get what you want, you know, that kind of thing. I always loved that. That's kind of that's a core. thing.
So in all of your experience and your daughter's in pharmacy school, what advice do you have for her once she graduates?
Oh yeah, mom advice. Here we go.
Oh, there's so much.
So much advice.
Well, I think being involved in your profession is going to make for a rewarding career. And, when you're able to, yes, it's going to take an investment of time, but the return on that is going to be so much greater.
Yeah.
So really being connected.
Yeah, I interviewed a little doe-eyed new grad today, and one of their questions was, what does work-life balance look like at your company, right? And my statement with her is like, work-life balance for a new grad is fine. Nobody, oh, hey, I don't really answer emails after. That's fine. You have a CEO who goes in an interview and says, and ask about work-life balance and, hey, I don't put stuff on my phone. They're probably not getting that job. Now, the thing though is that those are, I always say people who work a lot is not, that's a symptom of their heart. Not, they didn't connive and go, oh, to be successful, I've got to work 50 hours a week, or to be successful, I've got to answer if somebody emails me after hours to be successful. It's not. They love what they do, and those kind of things are a symptom of loving what they do, right?
Yeah.
And so, them investing in their field is a symptom of enjoying it. Now, somebody just behind the bench may not, some of that's going to be getting at the right place to enjoy it probably. But wouldn't it be great to go to the wrong place and transform it with mom's help? Right? You're gonna go there and flip that pharmacy. Right? We're gonna turn it around. Yep. Wouldn't that be fun?
I know. She's working on MedSync where she's at right now. So
nice.
Yeah.
And where did you say she was? Oh, she's at Medicap?
No, she's up in Boscobel, a great pharmacy. I think Michelle Farrell is the owner of that. And
okay.
Yeah. So
all right. So more advice. Give us a few more for her.
Oh, well, I definitely think residency is the way to go. I just think there's so much value that you can get in that year. I think that's, and I also think really, can continue to push that envelope with pharmacy. We're going to get there. I feel like when I graduated, we were like, oh, we were so close. And even now, I feel like now it's just a awesome time to be a pharmacist.
Mm-hmm.
What a great time to be graduating pharmacy school. I know there's some ups and downs on things, but there's so much opportunity just like right on the cusp with payer programs and different things and provider status. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next 10, 20,
so
30
what are
years
some other ways that so like talking to your daughter about things to do in pharmacy, what would be, and especially as you go out and you coach these other pharmacies, what's your advice about leveraging technology in their pharmacy?
Yeah.
And not just on MedSync.
That would be another of the top 10. Don't leverage, assume that all technology is the same.
Okay, let her.
Sorry.
No, I mean, I
you
think
hit my
that
button.
Obviously that's a huge, huge piece. And I think back of, over my career, just the different technology pieces. And I think I mentioned to you like dual monitors, something so similar or so simple.
Yeah.
But it's such a game changer when you can just be so much more efficient and have just so many more things at your fingertips, as far as patient care and really when you're looking at that patient profile and so forth. So don't be afraid of technology at all. And I think it's important to, figure things out from that regard, what works, what doesn't work. I know Pioneer has lots of, with text messaging and different things like that too, even just to help make things a little bit easier as far as MedSync goes. But definitely technology is going to be key, especially even just AI stuff and things along those lines too. I think we're really going to see probably in the next year some of that AI stuff.
What do you think about sports medicine in pharmacy?
Yeah.
There's a group getting together that to try to have a little conference and promote sports medicine in independent pharmacy. Any thoughts there? Seen any models like that?
I have not seen any models like that, but I can see certainly some opportunities there. So depending on kind of what market you're in and so forth, even with like high school sports and things like that. I mean, obviously sports is a huge, huge thing everywhere, it seems like. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear a little bit more about some of their thought process
you think
there.
about nutrition and coaching in nutrition.
Yeah.
If you were multi-dose packaging, you could package up supplements, kind of coach on things like that. You're about to say something?
Oh, no, I just like when you said kind of package up supplements, I think about even with COVID, here's some Q-Serin, here's some vitamin C, here's some vitamin D, kind of, it's like one of those things like, I remember thinking like as a mom, I'm like, okay, I'm sending my kid off to college during COVID, what do I need to send with them, and having that little kit together, like, here you go, kind of that first aid kit. But
I can see, and like you said, the doors have been opened since the pandemic and starting these little kits. I could see those kits being like a promo that you put out there for like cold and flu season. Because, like, I know during the pandemic, it was like, cool, you've got COVID, you're locked in your room, here's all your vitamins, and I put it in a little, like, a med box.
Yeah, where I was going with that, you think about, all these high school students working out, doing
and their
sports,
own supplements, or
they're playing with their own type of, supplements. I could imagine a parent wanting to pay something a month to have more of a counseled deal on their nutrition and the things they should take, growing body.
Right. I mean, they're paying trainers.
Working out kind of on the tonal.
Yes, don't get me started on that one.
Cohen's her son.
Yes, my son is Cohen. He is 14 and he has started working out. We have Tonal at home, which is like an all-encompassing, like one entire gym just on your wall. It's awesome. I love it. I recommend it. But yes, now he's in that like working out, and I can just hear him like slamming down weights, and like I can hear all that stuff. But you like, back to Jeff's point, there's a lot of parents, a few of them that I know of, who paid for professional coaches. Like, hey, my son is playing baseball, and so we want him to have the best coach because he wants to be a pitcher, and so he's seeing a pitching coach that's like got him on a workout regimen, may have him on a vitamin regimen.
Yeah,
but
bet it's
I don't
weak.
think. I agree. It's
I know
weak.
what a coach tells me about my nutrition.
Oh, I agree.
And abs are made in the kitchen, right? And
I also agree with that. They are not made in the wine bar.
That's a true story. It's absolutely true.
And
eating out.
And back to, there's the opportunity for pharmacists, because you guys have a better understanding of these chemicals that we put in our body, whether it like Chris Corneliuson, who, came up with the nutrient depletion vitamin supplements for, hey, if you're taking this medication, it actually deteriorates this, and so you should take this supplement to counter that. And pharmacists have all this knowledge that trainers don't have.
Yeah. Are you guys playing with any kind of subscription models?
Or has that come up?
Yeah. So there's the concept of, you see Amazon doing a $5 if you happen to be on these cheap drugs. There's a lot of talk and envisioning of, maybe a $50 a month that includes unlimited telehealth, and hey, this is a drug list that's for free, and then this list is cost plus, kind of a subscription model for customers who don't have insurance, or for employers who don't buy insurance but would buy some type of kind of health package. Choose, hey, if you're over 50, you get an annual cognitive scan or something like that. Playing with any kind of those models?
Yeah, I know. So Joe Greenwood, he's the owner of, we're now part of that organization. And there's about 7 pharmacies. And I know that he's been involved in some of those calls, like with CPSN, just talking about kind of that direct pay network and different things. So yeah, we've been kind of chatting a little bit about it, even as a team at Osterhaus too, like what would that look like, and so forth. So yes, we are, because I mean, the reality is, you can't lose $50-$60 on a prescription and keep filling that for a patient. I mean, you just can't. And patients understand that, they're frustrated by it as well and so forth. And so, yes, that is something we don't have all the answers for obviously yet, but, it is something that we're looking into and trying to figure out how would this work and how to make it work.
Good deal. So you talked about, and I'm just going back because Jeff loves to talk so much, and it's like, okay, now I have a chance for questions because he's obviously burned out now. I have a moment.
I'm not burned out. I just pause to let you ask a question. Why does it pick on me?
Pause more frequently. Just saying.
Pause more frequently.
Just saying.
I just have these goals and visions and
I know what it is.
Questions.
He's been drinking water the last 30, 40 minutes, and the caffeine is kind of like tapered down a little bit. That's what it is.
Cheers.
Cheers. So you had talked about we're right on the edge of the things that pharmacy can do. What hopes do you have in the near future for the capability of a pharmacist?
Gosh.
The list is endless.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think of kind of sky's the limit, really. There's so much with functional medicine. There's so much with even like pharmacogenomics and really personalizing medicine. And I think there's so many things that we're just kind of right on. And then obviously, we've been involved over the years and we have shown that when pharmacists are involved in patient care, we can make an impact on the overall total healthcare dollars. We've shown that with our Iowa Medicaid that we've been involved in. We've shown that with what we're working on right now with the Ingenio AmeriGroup contract. We've certainly showed that with Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, a program that we've been involved with several years back. Even with MedWise with Tabula Rasa, the impact that community pharmacists can have, it is a game changer. And it's frustrating, that we haven't made more progress with some payer programs and things along those lines. But I think we're getting close. And so I think we're going to start to see some of that.
Well, it was great having you today. Yeah. Make sure you tell Matt hi and thank him for his business and for his his investment, and thank you for being a coach and all the stuff
all
that
the hard work you do with Flip the Pharmacy and as a preceptor. So are you going to be at NCPA in October? Will we get to meet you in person?
I'm not sure if I'll be able to attend or not. We have a crazy month of October. So I know Matt and our resident will definitely be there. And if I can break away, I would love to, but I'm not sure if I will.
Yeah. Well, you seem happy. You seem like you're loving what you do. I think that's a testament to, hey guys, you guys got to do this. Do this and be happy and communicate.
And find your
purpose. That's the biggest one we're taking from today.
I know.
Communicate.
And huddles.
In the
team
pharmacy.
Huddles. Yeah. Start your day with a huddle, and every day's going to be great. Yes.
Yep. Every day's going to be amazing. Can't have a great life unless you have a great day. Right.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you rely on tomorrow being great, it'll never be. That's good.
Like that.
All right.
Thank you, Tammy, so much for joining us.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the Catalyst Pharmacy Podcast.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts to help us reach more pharmacy professionals like you.